Welcome to Close Quarters, right here on High TV, your luxury channel. We're speaking about the new normal and how do people cope with the new restrictions that are given. So today we want to speak about the entertainment industry when it comes to events that we used to attend. All these hotels, all these places that host events are just so dry and so empty. We have no place to go. But how is the event industry doing over the fact that it's such a big industry, from the person who will actually light the place up to the person who will transport the equipment? All of them have been affected by COVID-19. To speak more, of course, someone who has been in the trade for so long. Not only that, when you work with him, you know for a fact that you have nothing to stress about. The one and only Roshan Wijeyaratne, thank you for joining us today.
Hi Danu, thanks a lot.
Nice to have you. I wanted to speak to you about this situation that we are facing, COVID-19, we all know. As someone who has been in the events industry for so long, you would have come across many challenges. We had the war, we had the tsunami, we had so many things that happened. But this is so different. How has these last 2 years been for you?
Well, I think this is the worst we faced, Danu, because our problem started not with COVID. It started with Easter Sunday, where the industry basically went down because we couldn't work for about, I would say some of us didn't work for 3 to 4 months, right? So we lost a lot. And our whole plan was, last year was recovery for us to get out of those losses. And COVID hit in April, and since then, which a lot of people are unaware, that our industry has been shut down for 14 months now. The government never opened our industry, so they gave permission for various other events. I mean, they had, for example, the weddings and the political rallies to all that, but for corporate events, it was never officially opened out.
Right.
And also entertainment.
Okay, but you know, everyone, when we think of these issues, we always think of the main scope. Okay, we feel like, okay, events are not happening. Okay, Roshan's company might be affected. Example. But there is so much connected to your company itself. Like so many people who rely on you to come to their day-to-day living. How have they been coping, and what have you all done for it?
Really bad, in the sense that if you look at when you say event manager or event industry is not the event managers. We have lighting, sound, technicians, carpenters, graphic designers, and also we buy a lot of material, you know, from printing to, so it's a massive industry. Investment wise, it's huge. I mean, you have companies that have invested 100 to 200 million on equipment, right? Most of these guys are stuck. The problems that we are faced is, one is that you cannot use your equipment. They are all in storage.
And that is also not good.
That's a problem. So when the industry opens out, whether we'll be able to use half this equipment. That's one issue we have. The other is in terms of the crew, you know, most of them have gone back to their villages. A lot of them have started doing their own thing, whether it's selling vegetables or fruits or farming or so on. And I mean, definitely we are going to come back. Maybe even a year's time we will come back. And there will be a boom. But the issue is that whether we will have enough people at that time to, you know, come back to the industry, because they are all comfortable doing their own thing. But people are suffering. I mean, it's sad to say that our association, just a week or two ago, you know, we sent care packages to all our members, you know, which was dry rations to so on. And it's sad that we have to do that, you know, and so it's not going to be easy. Ideally, if we at least were permitted to have events, say 2-3 months ago, when country was a little normal, we could have at least had some kind of income. But unfortunately, we made representations, met them, did so much, but nothing happened.
So the whole purpose of corporate events is still a no-no?
Still a no-no.
Okay, launches, all of that fall under the same category?
Yes. I mean, we did a very few events the last 2 months.
Okay.
We were restricted to 150 people, right? And that again was only a very few. Companies were scared to organize events.
Yeah, because if anything happens.
No, purely because the government, their guidelines said no events. And they specifically said only weddings are allowed.
Right.
So that was a huge issue for us.
You know, something that I wanted to speak to you about, you know, there were a lot of committees that came about, and one of the committees were in terms of the event management companies. As a committee, did you all see this coming? And I think the purpose of you all opening the committee was also after the Easter Sunday attacks.
Yes.
How has the committee worked?
Actually, it worked because our industry was never recognized. The event industry was never recognized, but after with Easter Sunday we came together. We have 65 members, member companies in our association, and with COVID, the government recognized us because we approached the government. We met the finance minister, who's the prime minister, and so on, and we became entitled for the moratorium which was offered by the government. The central bank recognized our industry because in their notice they mentioned event management for whatever facilities that they were giving to other industries. So that way we got some support. Right. The issue was that most of our members couldn't go and get loans purely because they didn't have collateral. So that was an issue in getting money to run the businesses. But otherwise, those who had taken facilities, they managed to get those incentives that the government government gave. We also worked with the Ministry of Health in putting guidelines together.
Right.
So we managed to do one concert to help the musicians and to help the industry, and also to create awareness about the guidelines that the Health Ministry put out. So that was done. We've also joined hands with an organization which is called MARCOM, which is the Marketing Communications industry. There are 8 associations. We've got concessions for our clients, tax benefits, so that the whole idea is that they put in money into advertising and events.
Right.
So we've been doing a lot of stuff behind
just to keep this afloat.
Correct.
What would you say is the ideal situation with the current given situation of COVID-19? What would you say is the ideal situation for event companies?
See, ideally what the government should do is permit event with strict guidelines. In fact, we have drawn the guidelines for the event industry.
Okay.
From A to Z, starting from guest entering, equipment, number of people, what should be done. Because why the corporate events are needed, I would say more than a wedding, is that to keep the economy going, the companies need to reward their staff. They need to have the sales conference. They need to launch products. I mean, there are event companies, certain companies that when we do the annual conference, they launch 10-15 products every year at the conference. So they are unable to do that, to motivate staff, So at least if they allow 250 people, that's what we requested for. And the companies will be careful.
And with these guidelines put into place?
Yes.
Yeah, and these guidelines also have been written by the event management companies or the committee?
Yes, we put the guidelines together. We presented it to the government. We met the Army Commander and the Health Ministry officials. We gave it to them. Unfortunately, nothing happened. It's still sitting on somebody's table. They need to enforce the guidelines strictly, which didn't happen, because when they said, okay, weddings we are permitting with 150, there were weddings for 400, 500 packs. So that created an issue. So these are the things that they need to have proper guidelines, a proper system to manage this. And if we do that, yes, we can go ahead and we don't need to keep asking the government for money. True. Or at least people can sustain themselves.
In the last few years, I think this whole event management business sort of took off with pioneers like you who have been in the trade for a long time, even the youngsters who felt like, the whole corporate 9-to-5 jargon was just boring them, who decided to go out there and venture into their own things, decided to take up any part of events. It could be digital advertising, it could be advertising in events, or all of them. At least you all have worked on an infrastructure, found a system, established an organization. You all have some kind of a collateral that you all can fall back or hold on to. What would you tell to these youngsters who have gone into this industry blindly? What are the things that they should keep in mind? How can they come out of this as someone who has been in this trade?
See, currently, okay, like you rightly said, some of us, we've been in the industry for so long. We've gone through that process of starting up, getting bank facilities, we've paid that up. A lot of people very blindly got into the industry without understanding.
Because it was booming at one point. Just before this bomb blast, there were lots happening.
So people started, for example, importing and buying equipment, investing, borrowing a lot, without understanding the market. right? And now, yes, we are faced with a situation. So now the only thing for the people in the event industry is, I mean, we know that till the end of the year, I don't think we'll be able to work. But at least, you know, to keep yourselves going, to sustain yourselves doing whatever. I mean, there are people who are doing food, delivery, all that's happening. Okay, the crew guys, like I said, have gone in for farming, just to sustain yourself, you know, for the next 6 months or 8 months, because when we have this under control, there will be a boom. We have to bounce back, and it will happen. It's a case of, you know, managing yourself and sustaining yourself until then. And those who have equipment, I mean, not the big stuff that you need outdoor venues, at least, you know, keep running your equipment, because you have to run your equipment, especially with electronics, maintaining them, and, you know, doing that to keep it going.
You know, I wanted to ask you, you have seen the worst that this country can put together as, you know, the environment to do fun-filled events in. We had a war that took for a long time to end. We had the tsunami, we had so many problems, and you have stood through all of those. And I think we did have the concerts, the big ones during the war, and there were restrictions and regulations. And how do you cope up with it? From there to now, how do you see, like, of course, this is a health factor, but that was a security factor. But in terms of the end result being crippling is the same thing. How have you seen the difference, and do you see similarities of survival?
Well, see, previously there was a time during the war, President Premadasa wanted to ban entertainment, right? And I still have the paper cutting with me where he said no entertainment because there's a war going on in the north, and we cannot have carnivals and musical shows and all that. It should be banned. So there were 3 or 4 of us who fought at that time. We went to the newspapers, Sunil Perera, myself, and there were, I think, 2 others, and to explain to them, look, you know, during a war, what do you have for the youth? They only hear about people dying and bombs and so on, right? And the war is in the north. We need to keep people engaged, entertained in the other area. Otherwise, what do? What do the young guys do?
The whole country.
We have to keep them entertained. And finally, I mean, they heard us. They didn't ban entertainment, and we continued. So even the day, for example, the Navy commander was bombed outside Taj. The next day, I had a foreign concert at the Cinnamon Lake at TransAsia at that time, or Ramada Renaissance. Because we had to, I mean, the artist was booked, he came down, this happened, we couldn't cancel, and we did the events. So we were able to talk to people. Unfortunately, right now what we see is that we have gone on TV, we have gone on newspapers, we have met the highest possible people, but there is no understanding. You know, it's a case of taking care of the industries that they know or they have interests in. But they don't look at all the other industries and, you know, helping them.
Yeah,
so
and that's also helping the economy in so many ways than one.
Yeah, because
job opportunities. And
at least for us to sustain these people so that we are not a burden on the government.
True. Finally, how do you cope with COVID? What has COVID taught you?
It's taught me a lot. This particular third wave, I was in this house for 28 days. I didn't go out of that gate. I got used to it. You tend to value things more in terms of, you know, you look back at your life, and is life all about business, making money, growing, building empires and whatever? It's not that. You know, it's about life is so fragile that you learn to appreciate everything. You know, the more simpler things in life also, and you value people, and, you know, you understand that, you know, life, it's not about just working 7 days a week, you know, 18, 20 hours a day, because our value system changed over the last 20 years, I would say, or 25 years.
And perspectives did change.
So that has taught me a lot. And today for me, I'm quite happy, you know, if I don't earn the money that I earned before, if I earn 10%, 20%, 30% of that, and if I can put food on the table and have a decent life, you know, that's what it is all about. You know, and,
do you think people have lost their the juntu, let's put it that way, to come back into this?
I don't think so. Sri Lankans are always, I mean, like you said, juntu, for us it's Navagilu, not Banchun,
Yeah,
right?
true.
I mean, anymore, whether it's COVID or no COVID, I mean, today, if I call my friends and say, guys, come home for a drink,
They'll be here.
They'll be here,
Yeah.
right? Yes, we are being careful, but, you know, I mean, during COVID, yes, there was a group of us that we met only in houses. We didn't go out.
Yeah.
But, you know, you have 10 of us, we knew we are careful, we
Yeah.
were not going out there, but we still, you know, I
Yeah.
mean, I had a birthday party 3 days ago on Zoom.
Hmm.
You know, all of us had our wine, we had drinks.
In your own
everything.
little corners.
Yeah, and it went
Screen
on for 2
birthdays.
hours, we laughed and, you know, had a good time. So we'll bounce back.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking to Roshan today, especially about the event industry and what are the hopes and dreams that we need to have. Well, it's always good to keep our mind active and stay focused on the fact that we'll come out of all of this. Thank you, Roshan, for your insight and all
Thank
of
you,
this.
Danu.
And
Thank
hopefully the parties that need to hear the call from this event management community, I hope they hear it and find some kind of regulation that can be streamlined and put together so that it'll help all these lives to be on their own feet. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. All the best.
And we will see you soon with another episode of Close Quarters. Till then, you be safe.